I got little Joe when Helen was contacted by someone who had 2 donkeys down south, 2 Jenny donkeys, that's females, and they wanted to get rid of them, sell them. So Helen went down with somebody else and transported these 2 donkeys home. Joe is an English-Irish donkey. If you go to the UK and Ireland, there's a lot more like him with the shaggy hair and a mane like a horse instead of a sticking up mane. They're very lovable. They eat less than a horse, they drink less than a horse, so therefore they don't cost so much to keep. Helen taught us everything we know about donkeys. We knew what a donkey looked like, but we didn't know anything about their personalities or how to train them or all of that. Dawn and I knew each other because we were here with horses, but certainly once we met Helen and all the donkey ladies who we went out with in the donkey bus, yes, we got lots of new friends, yes. Yeah, no, it's been brilliant, it has.
My daughter's husband got a job in Canada. She had a donkey left on her place and she said, "Mum, can you take the donkey?" I got the donkey and it was a real eye-opener. Being a horse person, to get a donkey was like, whoa, they're not the same. I contacted Helen. I first met Helen when I joined the Donkey Society and realised that I would like to do more than just own a donkey. I wanted to actually have a working donkey. And Helen was, with her expertise, just knew everything about what I should be doing, how I should do it. And with Helen and a few of the older members, they babysat me through all the early stages of putting a donkey into harness. We start with long reining, dragging things around. I rigged up a cart where we could pick up the poo and the donkey had to take the poo down to the bottom paddock, things like that, just to get them used to noise and things tugging on them, things banging into their legs, get them all comfortable with that happening, then it's very easy to put them into a cart after that.
Can you talk about some of the different outfits you've been in?
That was just people would request them. They'd ring me up and say, we need a donkey for our big show, which is Mexican themed or whatever, and we aim to please. And he's had enough.
A donkey is an English word. As you've probably noticed, most donkeys are grey, and that in England is often dun. So, and key, like a monkey, which is a little man, a donkey is a little grey because it's a dun colour. So that's where donkey comes from. Really, they're equisessinus, and that's where the S comes from, that their Latin name is equisessinus. So S is what you call them. As with every different sort of animal you come across, the stories you've read about them, the things you think about them, are not always true, they're not always accurate, and if you're going to get a donkey, find somebody that has a donkey or can help you with their donkey so that you're not having to start from scratch with finding out for yourself. You've got somebody to help you. To look after your donkey properly, you don't need an awful lot. You do need shelter. You need to work out which way the shed is so that they can stand and have an opening in front of them. They don't like being shut in, but that the weather will be coming from the opposite direction. And if it's not going to be weather, you need shade then, because although they spend a lot of time lying in the heat with their stomach up to the sun, they also like to get out of the sun too. So you need a reasonable sized property, I think you're probably best off with about 1 acre per donkey, if that's possible. And so they're I think the main things. Preferably a good vet. It's amazing how many vets one comes across who thinks donkeys are long-eared horses. Helen McIntyre, born 4th of the 10th, 1941. Well, I think it was just natural love of horses, and of course everybody had horses at that stage. But our very first horse was the local young woman got in touch with the man down the street's large working Clydesdale, and they had a baby, and he needed the Clydesdale to keep working and taking him to Fremantle and so on. So we were at the movies at the time, and my grandmother was home, and he said, went there and he said, either they take this foal and bring it up, or I'm going to knock it on the head before the night's over. So my parents, who weren't going to let us have a horse, of course, let us have a horse. And my older brother, who was academic and not into animals, was the older one that had to get up for the midnight feeds and everything, which put him off animals even more. And so that's how we got Clover, and we had her for, must have been something over 30 years. And my sister and I were both, Theo, were both into riding horses, reading horsey books. We couldn't afford trained horses, so we just bought anything that had come in from the bush. So my sister and I just sort of worked together to make them controllable and rideable.
Now there's a photo of you riding a horse and the horse is rearing. Can you tell me, how did that photo come about of you on the rearing horse?
It was at the opening of the Hunt Club, and there was a horse playing up, and the photographer was trying to get a photo of it, and every time he tried, the horse stopped playing up. So I said to him, my horse will rear at will, and the moment I ask it to. So we asked my horse to rear up, and it did, and that resulted in the photo that was on the Sunday Times. My mother read Derek Tangy's A Donkey in a Meadow, and after that she had to have a donkey. She went to the sales and bought a donkey that had come down with cattle in the cattle truck. We didn't know that she was pregnant, of course. You want a donkey statue or two, and then where do you get them from? Well, of course, where you get them from is eBay. Well, we would go for picnics, and some people would walk leading their donkeys. Some people with bigger donkeys would ride them, and some people with lazy owners would drive them in a cart. We did find that there were a lot of people who had donkeys that were either uncontrollable or they didn't do much with them because it was all too hard. So as we were building up the society with people knowing about donkeys, we started mixing and going to people with donkeys, and even if we drove past, we'd stop and say, you know, you've got a donkey, can we talk to it, and so on. So that built the society up then by getting people to actually enjoy their donkeys rather than getting this wonderful donkey, especially if they'd read English books about donkeys, who are always sweet and nice and so on. So that is how we built up the society, by finding out where donkeys were and then going and talking to the people either helping them or else encouraging them to become members. A man got in touch with me and he said that he had found this orphan foal in the bush. He lived out in the bush with a dead mother, and he took it back to his place, but the only thing he had to feed it on was a little bit of water but a bit more beer. So he was feeding it on beer, and it was only a few hours old, and would somebody please come up and take it away? So we went straight up to the other side of Kalgoorlie and picked up the donkey, and I think we stopped at the first vet we came to and had it drenched with food that was good for it, just liquid, but something in its stomach that was going to get it down to Perth. We found it a home with somebody who loves it like anything, yes. I got Pollyanna in the middle of the night because a man rang me up and said that his donkey had accidentally or suddenly had a foal. She'd killed 2 foals beforehand, and he said she was knocking this one about, and he wasn't going to hand feed it or separate it or anything. Somebody took it away or he killed it before she did. So I got up and went and got her. I brought her home and brought her up in the kitchen and brought her up in the bedroom, and she lived in the house, so that it was much easier for me to get up in the middle of the night and feed her. One of the best things she ever did, well, most amusing I found, was somebody wanted to see her in the house, and she galloped into the bedroom and leapt up on the bed, almost as though she was saying, "This is what I can really do in a house." Yeah.
And when did you know it was time for Pollyanna to move out of the house?
When she stood up, we were both lying on this kitchen floor, and she stood up in the middle of the night, and I didn't wake up as I should have, so she urinated on me to make me get up. So I thought, well, that's the end of that. Certainly has meant that nothing ever phases her at all. She just says, oh, another one of those funny things that humans do. So I can trust her anywhere, anytime. Well, she is 28 now. She's slowed down on a lot of things. But goes up, if I'm not moving fast enough, she'll get round behind me and give me a big bang with her nose to say, go on, move on. I trained her to harness. I already had a donkey that I'd trained to harness with help from a very good horse person. So Polly and I having the relationship we did, I trained her into harness, and she thoroughly enjoys it.
Okay, Helen, I'm getting the medals out.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, Lord.
Some very kind members mentioned that they appreciated what I'd done, and I ended up going to the Government House and receiving an Order of Australia. Well, getting an Order of Australia, I felt belonged to every member of the Donkey Society, and I felt very pleased that donkeys were being recognised as more than a joke. See, I had nobody dependent on me. I didn't have to cook meals at night or anything. Most of the other members had children, teenagers and so on, or else elderly parents. I was or a husband or a wife. I was the one that had the time to just do whatever I wanted to, and then anybody else who had the time at the same time could join in, but the next time they might not be able to go, but somebody else could. I think one of the major things, getting away from the animal, is the people that I've met. Because donkey people, the sort of people that like donkeys and want donkeys and have donkeys, are all a little bit quaint. And the donkeys have all been both fun and a challenge.